Goodbye to kindergarten. Young children are preparing for Primary 1. Parents intending to find a Primary 1 place for their child in a government or an aided primary school need to join the Primary 1 admission system administered by the Education Bureau. Hong Kong children who reach the age of 5 years and 8 months by the time they enroll in Primary 1 in September are eligible to join the Primary 1 admission system, provided that they are not already attending a primary school and have not already been allocated a Primary 1 place. To save children the trouble of having to travel long distances to school, the Primary 1 admission system is net-based. The whole territory is divided into more than 30 school nets. The Primary 1 admission system comprises 2 stages: discretionary places admission stage and central allocation stage. Children's ability should not be used as an admission criterion in either of these 2 stages. This is to discourage kindergartens from drilling children. About 50% of the total Primary 1 places in each school are discretionary places. The remaining 50% of Primary 1 places are earmarked for central allocation. Let's look at the discretionary places stage first. In September each year, parents concerned should submit the Primary 1 application to only one government or aided primary school. If more than one discretionary places application is submitted, the applications for discretionary places will be rendered void. But if parents only want their child to participate in central allocation, they may instead submit their application for admission to Primary 1 to the School Places Allocation section of the Education Bureau. There are 2 categories of discretionary places admission. Category A. A school must admit all applicants with siblings studying or parents working in the school. This category takes up about 30% of the total Primary 1 places in a school. Applications for this category are not subject to restrictions on school nets. If the number of applicants in this category is less than the earmarked 30% of Primary 1 places, the remaining places will be allocated by the school according to a points system. If the number of applicants in this category exceeds the earmarked 30% of Primary 1 places, the shortfall will be made up by the school places earmarked for central allocation. Category B. Selection of applicants according to the points system. This category takes up not less than 20% of the Primary 1 places in a school. Applications under this category are also not subject to restrictions on school nets. Here are the details of the point system. 1. Parents teaching or working full-time in the kindergarten or secondary section if it is of the same address as the primary school. 20 points. 2. Siblings studying in the secondary section if it is in the same address as the primary school. 20 points. 3. Parents being a school manager of the primary school. 20 points. 4. Parents or siblings being a graduate of the primary school. 10 points. 5. Firstborn child, 5 points. Applicants may claim only one of the above 1 to 5 items. 6. Same religious affiliation as the sponsoring body of the primary school, 5 points. 7. Parents being a member of the same organisation which sponsors the primary school, 5 points. Applicants may claim one of the above 6 to 7 items. 8. Applicants of the right age, that is 5 years and 8 months to 7 years old when enrolled in Primary 1 in September, 10 points. Applicants are awarded the appropriate points for relationships claimed upon verification. Let's see how the point system works. Suppose there are 50 Primary 1 places in a primary school. 50% of the places, that is 25 places, are reserved for discretionary places, and the remaining 50%, 25 places, are reserved for central allocation. There are 30 applicants applying for discretionary places. Among them, 15 are admitted because they have siblings studying or parents working in the school. The remaining 10 places will then be allocated to the other applicants according to the points they have obtained under the points system. The school first lists the remaining 15 applicants in descending order of their scores. As there are only 10 discretionary places left, the first 8 applicants with 35 to 25 points can be allocated a discretionary place. 5 applicants get equal scores, 20 points, but there are only 2 places left. In this case, the school can either draw lots themselves in an impartial manner or refer the applications to the Education Bureau for processing. The school should inform parents of the detailed arrangements in advance. Under the points system, there is no need for schools to conduct interviews, as selection is based solely on the points system and not on the results of an interview. However, if a school considers it necessary to meet the applicants or parents, the school should inform the parents of the objectives and the arrangements of the meeting in advance. Children who have previously applied for a discretionary place but have failed to secure one, and those who have only applied for a Primary 1 place under central allocation, will be allocated a Primary 1 place through central allocation by the Education Bureau. For all government and aided primary schools, about 50% of the Primary 1 places in each school are earmarked for central allocation. About 10% of the Primary 1 places under central allocation are not subject to restrictions on school nets. The Education Bureau will inform parents in writing that they must go to the designated Central Allocation Centre on specified dates to make their choices of schools. In making choices of schools, parents should fill in the Choice of Schools form, listing schools in an order of preference. There are 2 parts in the Choice of Schools form. Part A is for unrestricted school choices. Parents may choose up to 3 schools with no restrictions on school nets. Part B is for restricted school choices. Parents should list the schools within their home net in order of preference in Part B. Here is an example. Mrs. Chan lives in Primary 1 Admission School Net 66. She fills in Part A and chooses 2 schools which are in other school nets and 1 school which is in her home net. She fills in Part B and chooses schools which are in Primary 1 Admission School Net 66. Parents should refer to the Choice of Schools list for central allocation when making school choices. The whole process of central allocation is computer programmed. The computer will first process unrestricted choices and then the restricted choices. The computer will assign a random number to each applicant. An example has been prepared to help explain the process of central allocation clearly. After the computer has processed unrestricted choices, it will process the restricted choices. Suppose there are 12 pupils in Net X who have not been allocated a place of their unrestricted school choices. Let us name them Pupil A to Pupil L. Suppose in Net X there are 4 primary schools offering 12 Primary 1 places for central allocation. Note that some parents have only chosen 1 or 2 schools in their forms. Before processing central allocation, the computer will assign a random number to each pupil. In this example, Pupil A has the smallest random number, so he is placed first on the list. B has the second smallest and so is placed second, and so on. The computer checks the applicant's first choices in the sequence of random numbers. Pupil A has the smallest random number and his first choice is School 1002. This school has 2 Primary 1 places and A is allocated to this school. As a result, School 1002 has only 1 vacancy left. The first choice of Pupil B is also 1002 and B is allocated to this school. Then we come to Pupil C. His first choice is also 1002. However, there are no more vacancies in 1002, so C is not allocated his first choice. Similarly, Pupil D, also with the first choice of School 1002, is not allocated a place in the school. Next comes Pupil E. His first choice is School 1004. As School 1004 still has 2 places, E is allocated to this school. Pupils F and G have both made a first choice of School 1002, but as there are no more vacancies, they are not allocated to this school. For Pupil H, his first choice is 1005 and he is allocated to this school. Now only 2 Primary 1 places are left in School 1005. Pupil I's first choice is also 1002. He too cannot be allocated a place in this school. Pupil J's first choice is 1004. Since School 1004 still has 1 vacancy, J is allocated to this school. Pupil K's first choice is 1005, and he obtains a place in this school. The first choice of the last pupil, L, is 1002. He too fails to secure his first choice. After going through all the first choices, it is found that schools 1002 and 1004 are completely full. However, school 1005 has one vacancy left. Since no pupils chose school 1001 as their first choice, no places from this school have been allocated to pupils in the first round. In the next step, the computer checks the second choices of the unallocated pupils. For pupil C, he has not filled in the second choice, so the computer moves to the next pupil. Since pupil D has repeated his first choice 1002 as his second choice, the computer considers his second choice blank and skips it. Pupil F has not indicated his second choice and is skipped by the computer. Pupil G has 1004 as his second choice, but since 1004 is filled up, G is not allocated his second choice. Pupil I has 1005 as his second choice. Since there are still vacancies in this school, he is allocated to 1005. The last pupil L is not allocated his second choice, that is school 1004. After the second round allocation, only pupil I is allocated to school 1005, leaving this school with no more vacancies. In step 3, the computer checks the third choices of those unallocated pupils. Since pupils C, D, F and G have not indicated their third choices, the computer skips them. The last pupil L is allocated his third choice, which is school 1001. Now only school 1001 has 4 places left. Although pupils C, D, F and G have not filled in school 1001 as their school choices, the computer allocates them to this school. This example shows that it is unwise for parents to make only 1 or 2 school choices. Parents should fill in as many schools as possible in their home net in order of preference on the choice form. Here now are some important events and dates concerning the application for admission to Primary 1. In September, parents concerned should obtain an application form for admission to Primary 1 and the notes on how to complete the application form for admission to Primary 1 from the kindergarten or kindergarten-cum childcare centre in which their child is studying, or from the district offices, regional education offices and school places allocation section of the Education Bureau. Applications for discretionary places begin in September each year. Parents should submit the completed application form directly to the school they are applying for during the specified period. Please note that private primary schools, direct subsidy scheme primary schools and primary schools of the English Schools Foundation are excluded from the Primary 1 admission system. Parents who wish to send their children to these schools may apply directly to these schools. Parents need to note that children who have accepted the offer of a Primary 1 place in a direct subsidy scheme primary school will not be allocated a Primary 1 place through the Primary 1 admission system. If a school place has already been allocated through the Primary 1 admission system, this school place will be withdrawn. Results of the allocation of discretionary places are released in November. Parents should go to the school to which they have applied to check the results. Successful applicants should register with the school within the specified period. Parents of children who have not been offered a discretionary place or those who have applied for central allocation only will be informed in January of the following year to go to the designated central allocation centre to complete the choice of schools procedure under central allocation. Results of central allocation are released in early June. Parents should register their child with the allocated school on the specified date. All parents love their children. They are the pillars of our society. Therefore, parents should choose a suitable school for their child. However, if a child is not allocated to a school of his or her first choice, parents should still be positive and help the child study happily.